I have tried it all. I've tried paper planners, bullet journals, Notion. I've literally tried it all, but Google Calendar is my tried and true. So this video, I'm going to be sharing my Google Calendar organization and how I use it to stay on track, focus, and achieve all my goals this year. I actually made this similar video last year, but some of my methods and Google Calendar tips have changed a little bit, but this is what I'm using for 2023. I struggle so much with consistency. And so I have everything right here in my Google Calendar, and here is how I organize it. I will literally talk for days. So if I'm looking down, I just want to make sure I hit all the points that I want to hit. First question that lots of you guys ask on my videos is why I choose Google over Apple. Now, if you know me, Apple has me in a chokehold. I have my MacBook, the new iPhone 14 Pro Max, I have an iPad, I have literally everything Apple, but when it comes to the calendar system, Google Calendar has Apple beat by far. There's a couple of reasons why, the main being the aesthetic. It just looks better. There's not really much else to say about that. It's also more accessible because if you are on any device, you can just log into your Google account, and it's easier to share with other people who don't have all Apple devices. Another reason is that it's super easy just to sync your Google Calendar to your Apple. And so to me, there really is no point in using Apple Calendar. You can create everything on Google. And if you absolutely need something on your MacBook or on your Apple CarPlay, it will just sync up. So here is my Google Calendar. And the first thing I want to talk about is multiple calendars. I make a separate calendar for every area in my life, and some of them have fun little, even corny nicknames. So I have personal. 26.2 is anything that has to do with running or fitness. My goal is to do a marathon this year. Content is all social media from YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, all of that stuff. Flights Not Feels is anything that has to do with travel. Money Moves is financial. Miss Stone is my job because I'm a teacher. And then lastly, I have a task calendar. So it's really nice to have different calendars for every area of your life because you can clearly see what is going on. You're also able to hide and view different calendars. So let's say you don't want to see everything and you only want to see work events or you only want to see travel, you're able to just easily check and uncheck which calendars you do want to view. For each calendar, you can make it a different color. Google does have a bunch of default colors you can choose. If you don't like any of them, you can also just scroll around on the color wheel until you find a good one. What I like to do is find a hex code. So I will just Google pastel purple hex code or light orange hex code, find a nice color I like, and you can just copy and paste it in there. Me personally, I don't like the super bright colors that are just like blaring. So I try to find tones that are more pastel or more toned down. You can create however many calendars you want. I don't think there's a limit. You can also add in pre-made calendars. So you can add in holidays in your country, phases of the moon, and you can also download if there's any other public calendars that you want. The only thing is that Google Tasks and Reminders will stay under your My Calendar section, and you're not able to delete those or take those off. Each calendar is also shareable, so I know lots of people who will have like a couple calendars so they can share events and things going on with their boyfriend, girlfriend, maybe even their friends, family members. So you are able to make public calendars, or you can keep them private and you are the only one who can view them. The next feature that I really love is being able to make very custom events. If you have a bill that is due on the same day every single month, or a meeting every third Tuesday of the month or something like that, you're able to make recurring events that will keep going and automatically be in your calendar for however long you want. This makes it super easy to not have to go in every single month and keep adding in the same things. So actually all of my bills in my Money Moves calendar are recurring because they hit on the same month every single day. You're also able to easily move events. This is one reason why, to me personally, digital will always win over paper. things change, plans change, you don't have to erase them or use whiteout. You can just click and drag different events to move them if the day changes or if they're pushed back to the next day. Google Calendar also allows you to set multiple or even just one notification. I get them to my computer, also to my phone and iPad, just to make sure I'm not missing anything. There's been so many times where there was just so much in my schedule that I literally forgot about a meeting at work or forgot about a dinner, but that Google Calendar will pop up with that notification and remind me. You're also able to put in the location, and so whether you use Google Maps, Waze, Apple Maps, whenever you click on that, you can choose whichever navigation you want. This is super helpful if you're going to events at places that you've never been before, or going to a brunch or a dinner and just want to have that GPS location. And when you click on the event to edit, you can also add notes if you have a Zoom meeting link or just other general notes or things you want to remember. You can put those in the notes as well as any attachments. And you can also use emojis. So I have a little system that I like to add different emojis in to indicate different things. One main example is on my bills. Whenever I pay the bill, I go into the event and add a big green checkmark emoji to let myself know that that bill is paid. I also have different codes that I use on my content calendar, which I'll get to in a second. Next up, a big thing that I try to do, and I actually have been doing today and for this week, is time blocking. Time management is honestly so hard for me, and if I just have a giant to-do list but don't actually sit down and figure out how and when I'm going to do that, half of those things are not going to get done. Time blocking is you basically sit down and you schedule out events per time. Now, I do this to a certain extent. I don't go super detailed, like every single minute of my day is scheduled out, but I did it for today and it definitely was helpful to really keep me on track. I put the time that I want to wake up, go to the gym, time to get ready for work, and of course I blocked out the 8 hours of work. Now, after work, I blocked out this time slot to record a video, and my next time slot is to go on a run. I don't have anything scheduled for after 5:30 p.m., so I did not block out like second by second for the whole day. But if you are struggling with time management, I really recommend doing this. If you sit down and set yourself a time amount to get everything done, it will really allow you to hold yourself more accountable and actually get things done that need to get done. Okay, these next two things, this first one is new that I didn't used to do on Google Calendar. So within Google Calendar, there's two other Google applications that are integrated in. This first one is Google Task. Y'all, I have been sleeping on Google Task and I don't know why I didn't use it before 2023. Google Task is what I use to make quick daily to-do lists. Now, you know I have an iPhone, but it just doesn't hit the same as Apple Notes because Google Task is actually integrated into the calendar. And so if you're on a computer or on the laptop, you can click on this little sidebar and see a side-by-side of all of your tasks. This is so useful for those like little things that don't necessarily need an entire event, like wash your hair, do laundry, pick up groceries, just reminders to get things done. You can also set times and dates. So some things I will just generally throw on the list that need to get done at some point, but there's certain things that need to get done by a certain day and time, and I'll put that in. They also can show up on your calendar if you have Google Task checked. I have my task a different color. They're kind of like a really light gray white color. And the best part, you can check off when they are done. So in your calendar, once you check off or mark a task as done, it shows up but crossed off, and something about that is so satisfying. If you're a checklist type of person, you know the satisfaction of making a to-do list and seeing those things marked off. I also have the task app on my phone and on my iPad. If you have an iPhone or an iPad, there is a home screen widget app to be able to view all of your tasks. I love when everything just syncs up and just connects my whole life together. So Google Task is really great for quick daily or even weekly to-do lists. Next up is my girl Google Keep. The icon of Google Keep is a light bulb, and that's truly what I use it for. Ideas, ideas, ideas. Google Keep, the exact same thing. It's integrated into the Google Calendar app, so you can have a side-by-side on your computer. Again, I also have it on my phone, my iPad. The apps are all connected. So Google Keep, I would equate Google Keep to Apple Notes and Google Task kind of to like reminders. So tasks are more just like quick checklists. Google Keeps are more like notes. And so what I do is I have a ton of different notes for yearly goals, monthly goals, weekly goals. I have a list of books that I want to read. I haven't finished any books yet this year. I also list out a bunch of content ideas. I'm always thinking of YouTube ideas, TikTok, Instagram, and so on. And you're able to have them different colors. You can pin them, archive them. Basically, Google Keep is like my brain, and it works in tangent with my calendar to keep me on track. I used to write down my goals in a bullet journal, but having my goals and my ideas side by side to my calendar and planning just makes more sense to me. And then one last thing on Google Keep, I actually have my own little emoji key system that I created, and you can get creative with this, emojis, and there could be tons of other ways to do this. But for my content, I have a little key that I have in Google Keep. If there's the recording or the camera icon, that means I'm filming a video. If there's a little girl behind the laptop, that means it's in editing. Can you tell I've been talking all day as a teacher? The clock means the video is scheduled, and check mark means it's posted. So I really recommend creating your own system. It could be emojis, it could be different symbols, whatever you come up with to really customize your calendar. So that is essentially my Google Calendar setup. But of course, a calendar does not work if you don't keep up with it. So just like all the other apps, Google Calendar is on all of my devices. The only downside is that there is not a MacBook Google Calendar app, but it's not that hard just to go to the Safari or the Google Chrome desktop. On my phone and on my iPad, I also have the Google Calendar iOS widget. I like the one, let me show you guys. On my phone and iPad, I have the widget that has a side-by-side of a full calendar view and also upcoming events and important dates. I love just opening up my phone and I can see a glance at the entire month of February. Also, if you're time blocking, this is super key because you're able to see your schedule. There's a couple of different versions of this iPhone widget. There is one that will go like hour by hour if you are hardcore time blocking or scheduling. To not take up as much space, mine is just like that top whole section. Okay, and a few more Google Calendar features, which I actually just discovered this one. There's a search bar. You can search for any keyword or phrase in your calendar. Like if you had an event a couple months ago that you want to go for some reason pull up on your calendar, you can search that. If you have somebody's birthday dinner coming up or a trip and you forgot, you're able to use that search bar, which is super cool. Keyboard shortcuts, these will save your life. These are the main ones that I use every single week. There are a couple of other ones, but if you hit M, that will take you to month view. D is day, W is week, S is to go to your Google Calendar settings, C is to make a new event, A, this is so cool, is to go to your agenda and it will have like a schedule hour by hour that you created, and Z is to undo. Y'all, this schedule view, I'm not gonna lie, I just discovered like yesterday researching this video, but this agenda is so nice. So at the top, it has all the things that are all day long, and then it goes hour by hour if you schedule out that way. So if you try time blocking, definitely take a look at your calendar in agenda view. Okay, so I think I've covered how I use my calendar and everything that I absolutely love about it. Let's talk about things I don't love about it. Now, there's not many cons in my opinion, but here's a couple of things that I don't like or that I think could be better with Google Calendar. Number one is you cannot remove the task or reminders from your calendars. Now, I love Google Task, I love it there, but the reminders just won't go away. And for me personally, I'm just like, if I'm making events in my calendar, I have checklist tasks, why do I need reminders as well? So that's a downside. Those are stuck. You cannot remove those. Number two, you cannot make task different colors. So you pick a color for your task and all of those tasks are that color. I really wish, and hopefully in the future Google makes this update, is that I can categorize my task and have each task a different color. Just my preference, I'm really big on color organization. Number three, you can't mark events as done. Now, task and events, there is some overlapping, but why can't I just have an event marked as done or have a little checkbox or something? If you've ever tried Notion, that's one thing that I do like about Notion is your events can be checked off as done. It's so simple. Google, can you please add that feature? Next one, I mentioned this, there's no MacBook app. That's not the end of the world. And the last one is you can't expand your calendar by length if there's a lot of things stacked. So if you have like 10 events in one day in Google Calendar, it will list out the first couple of ones, but after that it will say like 3 more, 6 more, and you have to click on it and pull up the day view to actually view all those. Again, going back to Notion, Notion was so cool and interactive that it would automatically expand that box if you had a lot of events in that day. So it seems like such an easy update, but overall, those are the only complaints or gripes that I have. Google Calendar is awesome. If you are struggling with organization, with getting things done, highly recommend. And if you guys have any questions, be sure to comment down below. Thank you guys for watching, and thank you, Google, for saving my life. Not really, but kind of.